Good morning, gardening friends. It's the next morning. This is kind of where I left it last night. I did a little cleanup because I knew the sprinklers were going to go off this morning. I didn't want to get all the tools getting wet. Didn't care so much about the pipe. That's been soaked over the years. There was a root that's running across there that I had to, in part of the excavation, just to be able to fit those bricks in. So I still need to go. There was some hard rock here. This is actually decomposed granite is what this hill is made of. And while it's easier to bust up than granite, it's still kind of tough. So I'm going to have to go get the cold chisel and hammer and a couple of tools. And I've got a rock hammer too, so I'll try that and see if I just can't channel out a little bit more so I can get the base that I need to be able to lay the remaining blocks. And then ultimately I'm gonna take some careful measurements, put another block on that side, basically build another corner, and then stretch a line across to make sure that they're level, and then also so that all the ones I put in between come up level. I think the first step is I got to cut that root out, and then I'm going to get to building that corner. Okay, so it's quite a bit later. The neighbors got their gardener over, so that's what you're hearing in the background. But this is kind of what I ended up doing. It took me quite a bit of time to excavate a lot of that and get it down to a point where it's actually lower than it needs to be. I don't know if you can really kind of see where that line is now. So it's actually too low, but that's kind of what I wanted. I don't want it to be too high because then I'm constantly having to adjust it. If I get it too low, then ultimately I can pad it, I can fill it in with a little bit of dirt and stack these blocks. And as it turned out over here, I've returned it back this way. I'm ultimately going to take I thought I was going to need the half blocks to do this. I thought I was going to come out a little bit further, but it doesn't quite work out. I could stick another half a block in where I got a full block right there, but the problem with that is then when I do the next row above it, it wouldn't work out. So I have to keep it as whole blocks the way I've got it right now. And I don't know if I wanted to go to a third row what I would do, but someday we'll deal with that if that's what we want to do. The other thing is there are now about 16 inches between the edge of the stepping stone here and the wall. Actually, I mean, I haven't set all the blocks yet, but there will be about 16 inches. What I ended up doing, what I ended up figuring out was, okay, I got a stick here. This is just a stake that I can use for, I can drive it into the ground and use it to stake plants. But it happens to be long enough that I can put the point up against the block, and then when I come down to this end, you can see I got a little cut on the end. That cut represents the wall here. So I can use this all along the wall from left to right to make sure that these are all at the proper depth, and they will be then parallel with this edge of the wall here. So that's where I am. Now I got to try and get that first row of blocks in. Once I get the first row in and leveled and straight and everything, the second row will just go right on top of that. No big deal on that one. And then I've got to try and pack in dirt around and behind, get all of that, and then I'm into putting caps on. So that's where I am. You know that feeling you get sometimes when you think something's not going to get done? Well, it's getting done. So I finally got through this, ignore the extra half block, and I did put one of the half blocks back there because I wanted a little more support for the second row. But I have now filled in and backfilled along, along the back side there. I haven't actually backfilled in here yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put the next row and backfill, and we'll go from there. Okay folks, that's the wall mostly built and backfilled, and the hill sculpted a little bit. So the next step is going to be to put the pavers up there, or the stepping stones, but I'm thinking I might just put them up there loosely and call it quits for today and be smart about this, because my back's starting to hurt. Next up will be my front starting to hurt, and everything else starting to hurt, and I still got other things to do today. So I guess this is going to turn into a three-parter. So for now, this is the Budget Gardener signing off, saying, may your thumb be green.